Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna slammed the officiating for Calvin Phillips' red card and felt his side were robbed of a clear penalty in their 1-1 draw against relegation rivals Leicester. OK, so Kieran McKenna not happy with the officiating in that game at Portman Road, in which they took the lead and then Leicester equalised late on to deny McKenna's side their first victory of this season. When you look back on some of those decisions then made in the game, in particular the penalty that wasn't given that they felt they should have had, and then the red card that followed pretty soon after, is he right to feel aggrieved?
Yeah. Absolutely.
On both?
Yeah, I thought I've watched him a couple of times, and on Connor Chaplin, it's a pen. It's a clear foul. Absolute clear foul.
So this is, as you say, Connor Chaplin's in the box, and it's Abdul Fattawu who just, I mean, how do you describe it? Just barges.
Takes him out, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no slight leg more. It's actually clashing. He literally collides with him in the box, and that is a free kick everywhere on the pitch. That is a free kick. Okay. Or, it's a pen. And then afterwards, Calvin Phillips, how the referee has given that a red card, I do not know.
Well, it was a second
yellow, yes. But even so, Nat, you can see Calvin Phillips pulls out of the challenge. There's no intent there. And I just didn't think it was a pen. A sending off at all. So I'm on Kieran McKenna on both of them, incidents. Yeah. I thought they were both wrong.
A difficult
in a matter of what, 5 seconds, 10 seconds?
It was seconds. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, heartbreak for Ipswich, because as we say, they score in the 56th minute. Leif Davis, a terrific strike by him, by the way, to give Ipswich the lead. And then
in that name as well, Leif.
I know, Leif. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Leif Davis. It works really well. Another left back. We were talking about Lewis Hall, but another left back doing really well. And then you're going into added on time, and there is Leicester. And Leicester have a habit of scoring late goals. Jordan Ayew, and that was a terrific goal in itself, the little 1-2 with Jamie Vardy, for him to then slot it past Muric to pick up that point. How hard is it to pick yourself up from a position of that? Because it's the second game in a row. Not quite the same, but they were 2-0 up at Brentford, Ipswich. Again, looking on course perhaps to win, and then the game turned. Yeah,
and conceded a late goal.
Yeah.
Again, it's punishing them. You could quite easily make a case that you could have got a point at Brentford at least, didn't get anything. Yesterday, another 2 points were dropped. 3 more points. It's vital for Ipswich. They can't give presents away. I mean, saying that, look, the penalty and the incident, and the sending off is just hard for me to understand, because I just was totally with McKenna on these two decisions. And Leicester have grabbed themselves a point, and got themselves a decent result, as Steve Cooper said. He felt Leicester were the better team. I didn't. I thought from the game I watched, I thought Ipswich had enough chance, especially in the first half. I thought they were really good.
It's maybe a result that might rock the confidence a little bit, just because it was so late on that they conceded Ipswich. But they have dropped more points than any team in the league so far. Right. Having been ahead in 5 games, they've now dropped 12 points, which is a really, really horrible stat to sort of read when you're struggling for a win and knowing you've been in winning positions. Yeah, even if you get half of them, you're up to sort of mid-table. So it's been a difficult week for them, and you can take a lot of pride out of your performance, which Ipswich have done again. They've done this numerous times. Remind me a little bit of Luton last year, where their performances didn't sort of justify the points they should have had. Yeah. By the way, for all of those headlines that we're bringing you, those stories, you can visit our website at talksport.com for more on that. So as Ipswich remain winless, Southampton finally picked up their first victory at the 10th attempt as Adam Armstrong hit a late winner to beat Everton. After losing their opening 4 matches, Everton arrived at St Mary's unbeaten in their past 5, following Beto's 94th minute leveller against Fulham, but they were outplayed by the Saints in the second half. The result moved Southampton off the foot of the table, while Everton remained 16th, 4 points off the relegation zone. And the Saints boss, Russell Martin, as you can imagine, was relieved to register his first victory in the Premier League, and he praised on his side's performance. Hopefully now they will kick on, is the message there from Russell Martin. It will feel as though a significant weight has now been lifted off their shoulders for Southampton, because again, they have been in positions of winning games. You go back to the game they drew with Ipswich. They conceded a late equaliser by Ipswich, but they finally got it. What would that relief feel like?
Well, a relief would feel even better, because their owner was at the ground for the first time the season. You sort of thought, well, that was ominous if they'd lost the game. And yeah, he'll be delighted, Russell Martin. And you know, he said there, bringing Aaron Ramsdale in, and you know, because he felt that position needed. They invested a lot of money for Southampton to have a new keeper in, and yes, they made 2 or 3 really big saves, because Everton weren't good in the first half, but in the second caused Southampton a number of issues. Beto had a goal disallowed. How that took 4 minutes to decide that.
It was crazy.
It's obvious offside quite quickly. But he hit the bar. You know, there could have been a sending off in the game, Nat. You know.
Well, Sean Dyche felt as though Jan Bednarak should have been sent off as he brought down Beto, who was charging on goal. It was a yellow. We've seen quite a few, obviously, denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, red cards this season. But what did you make of it? Was it a red?
I'd give the only thing I would say is that he's out wide, Beto, and Bednarak is sort of charging him down. I'd say, yes, it's a foul, but I would go more of a yellow. I don't think it's a direct down the middle, one-on-one. And you also had Harwood Bellis. Yeah, you had Bellis as well.
There, so he wasn't
could
the
have got
last
across.
defender,
so I'd give the benefit of doubt I felt it was the right decision.
I mean, you mentioned Everton. Obviously, they had some decent chances in the game. Couldn't make them count. I think they hit the crossbar twice. Also, Aaron Ramsdale, pretty decent in the goal as well. 2 or 3
really big saves. One from Keane. Michael Keane. Yeah.
Crikey. I mean, Keane, brave as anything, colliding with the post really as a result of his effort. But a disappointment for Everton, because they had been on that unbeaten run. It's their first defeat in 6. But when you look at Everton, they should still have enough to pull themselves away.
Yeah, I find it hard. I've said it all along. I find it hard to put Sean Dyche's team down. I think if they get their 11 out there, yesterday they had enough chances. They are now not conceding like they were in the early part of the season. I think Everton will be okay. It might be a season if they finish sort of 15th or 14th, but I think they'll be okay.
For the majority of the first half, Southampton didn't have a single shot on target despite dominating possession, which is kind of epitomised. Yes, it's kind of the Southampton way, absolutely. But for them to get that victory over the line and now know they've got to go to Molineux, we've talked about obviously how that will impact Wolves and how they'll feel taking on a team perhaps who are full of confidence. But it's key now that they do kick on. Yeah.
And Armstrong scoring as well, because we looked at goals. Cameron Archer, Adam Armstrong, you know, they need to get goals. It's a bit of a different direction at Southampton of who gets the goals now. So, yeah, it's a massive result for them. And they'll probably look back and say, that was nowhere near our best performance so far this season, but we walked away with 3 points. And Russell might be delighted with that.
They've only scored 7 goals.
Yeah, they're not going to get goals. They're not going to get a lot of goals. They're not a goal-scoring team. That's why I said Wolves' upside is that they look way more likely to get goals than Southampton.
Well, if you look at the relegation picture, just lastly on this one, as it stands, the bottom 3 read Ipswich, Southampton and Wolves. Is that how it's going to stay come the end of the season?
I think out of all of them, I do think Ipswich have got the biggest opportunity, because I think if they can just be a little bit tighter, I think it will make a dramatic change on their results. Because, like you said, they've dropped 12 points from really good positions in games. Which the other ones, Wolves are chaotic, but they have got more goals. I would opt for Southampton to go more than the other 2, because I just think they're not a high-scoring team. And they do get obsessed slightly with this possession football, and I think there's going to be times in the season you're going to have to stick it in the stands, you're going to have to boot it long or get it out of danger trouble, and I don't think they're prepared to do that, because it's zero tolerance. It comes from the manager. He's not going to want to play any other way, and I just think I don't think they're good enough technically and a technical side to be able to play that football without some downside.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.